Ooh, and do we have a treat for you here? We have Metropolis, ladies and gentlemen, spawning over here in the 9 o'clock position as the Teal Protoss. Going down after some incredible early game harassment with those Marines in game number 1, more or less set back his economy to a point where he was playing catch-up, and then unfortunately got dealt a killing blow. But can he make it back in game number 2? We have Freizy. His opponent spawning in the top position as the Green Terran player, though. Absolute boss going to the WCS Global Finals. Must be feeling pretty chuffed with himself at the moment. And he just won game number 1, so he is 1 game away from a 2-0 sweep. But can he pull it off on this map? We'll find out in just a moment. His name is LucifroN. So this is going to be a pretty interesting matchup here. Now, this map does lend itself to a lot more macro-heavy play. If we take a look, we can see that the natural expansion and the third base are expanding away from your opponent. So Freizy will be able to get his expansions compared to a lot of other maps with relative ease. They are further away. They are in close-by air positions, though, which means that dropping is completely and utterly possible through that location there, as we have got the barracks going down for LucifroN now. We've got 2 neutral creep, by the way, expansions here on the islands in this map, so you have to bring detection to kill off this neutral creep tumor and wait for the creep to rescind before putting down your expansion here. We typically don't see these bases used until the very, very late game. There are 2 huge avenues of attack down the center of the map, with watchtowers at either side. So it makes it a little bit difficult through the center of the map to sort of mount a surprise attack. Even if you come around the back here and try and surprise your opponent that way, the watchtower tends to catch some of those units. So it can be a little bit difficult. LucifroN now going to be moving straight into the close-by air position, as Freizy actually sneaking out a probe to go scout the cross positions first. So LucifroN will be the first to get a scout off on his opponent. He's just going to be checking that gas. Sees that only 1 gas was taken. Oh, but actually the second gas has been taken as well. And LucifroN may be pulling out just a little bit too early there. So Freizy going for that double gas. And he has actually gone for the 1 gate expand. In the meantime, if we take a look at LucifroN, he's actually gone for a reactor on his barracks and then a factory. So we could be seeing some early Hellion drop play in these close by air positions as well. I'm not sure if he wants to be swapping that barracks with the factory. He could be going for a Hellion opening, but we typically see that a lot more in Terran versus Zerg as opposed to Terran versus Protoss. But things, you know, things, I mean, as long as you make them work, that's not going to be too much of a problem at all. And the factory goes down on the tech lab just as Freizy comes in and sees absolutely everything. So he's sitting there going, really? You're going to make Hellions against me at the moment? Okay, I can deal with that. No problem whatsoever. He's trying to block the barracks from landing as well. And, oh, he's being so unbelievably frustrating. LucifroN is unable to make Marines at the moment. And that is going to frustrate him to absolutely no end. And then, oh, is it gonna... Yes, he is gonna land, and the Hellions are gonna destroy that probe, just as he moves over to the starport as well. So, he sees that the starport has gone down. Do we have a tech lab go down on the starport as soon as it completes? Are we gonna see a Banshee opening in close by air? No, we have got a medevac. So, Hellion drops are gonna be the order of the day here on Metropolis, while we have the first 2 Hellions move over to the base of Freizy. We see, oh dear, it looks like a little bit of a drone barbecue might be going on here. Zelda going to try and chase some of those Hellions away, but it will take an awful long time. And once again, this early game harass seems to be the undoing here of Freizy, as these Hellions just have absolutely their choice of exactly what they want to roast. A couple of drones going down at the natural expansion. Not too many at the moment, 6, but really you want absolutely no more damage done by LucifroN at this point in the game. The problem is we already have a medevac on the way and another 2 Hellions here. And the main base is looking fairly tasty, actually. There we go. 3 Hellions in the medevac. We have 2 more, possibly going to poke into the natural to keep these units occupied. And here we go into the main base. Freizy sees it now, but what's he going to be able to do about it? Will this be game-ending? This Hellion opening against the Protoss is not something Protoss players typically expect a lot, and so many probes going down right now. The economy for Freizy is more or less in tatters. 16 killed, and we even have more potentially going down at the natural. No, they've actually come straight up into the main base, so 5 Hellions do remain, but we're going into the natural expansion as well, and Freizy is down to 22 hit points. It looks 22 hit points, 22 supply rather, and it looks like LucifroN is going to be able to take game number 2 once again off the back of some very, very strong early game harass. Those Hellions trying to get back out, actually going straight back up into the main base. There are a decent number of probes here, and they're lining up ever so slightly, and oh no, more and more of them going down. The number of workers now is 7 to 27, and Freizy cannot be feeling particularly good about himself. LucifroN's early game harass just too strong for the Protoss player here. And once again, like in the previous game, we see a lot of racks going down now as well. Going to be going for a very basic bio follow-up. Wouldn't be surprised to see another medevac as well. Freizy has actually managed to stabilize, but at what cost? He has 8 workers to 28, and right now he's going to face an absolute mountain to climb if he wants to try and beat LucifroN from this. LucifroN playing incredibly safe. I'm not sure I agree with these 2 bunkers going down. Considering the number of probes he absolutely demolished just now, I don't think it's really necessary to defend too much against the counterattack on the grounds that you can just continue to pump out units and still be okay. I would much rather have that as 2 additional barracks, for example, but it is still very, very safe. I'm not criticizing it that much because at the end of the day, 2 bunkers is definitely going to defend against anything Freizy might throw at him. But really, this is going to be the story of this game. We have LucifroN mining more than twice as much minerals, and only 1 player is mining any gas at this point of the game. So the factory, we don't have a tech lab built yet, so we aren't going to be seeing any sort of 1-1-1 style composition follow-up from LucifroN, although frankly, I think at this point that would win the game. Instead, he's just going to be going bio-heavy. We see Stim being started at this barracks over here, and no doubt we'll have a second tech being produced at this tech lab here at the factory. Factory? Barracks, even. We have got +1 on the way from the engineering bay. A couple of supply depots going to be going down for him as well. And I think this production tab really says it all. LucifroN is getting all of the things, and Freizy is just trying his best to get his probe count up to a respectable level. And to be fair, from 8, he's gone all the way up to 24 now. That is actually decent. I don't think we should forget that for just a moment. Freizy is doing well to try and keep up on his macro. It's just that early game aggression from LucifroN with those Hellions was too much for Freizy to handle. But if Freizy's able to get his way back into this, I'd be incredibly impressed. And it looks like he might be poised to take his 3rd base as well. So we see, yep, we see once again the same risk that he took in the previous game. He goes, okay, I've lost a lot of workers. I need to try and get back into this game. I think the best way to do that is chrono boost a heck of a lot of probes and grab my 3rd nexus down as well, so that if my opponent does not attack me, I will be able to move back into this game, even if I have to wedge myself sideways back into it. But LucifroN is continuing to get an absolutely massive army. He is currently up to 92 supply versus 43 from Freizy. And never mind, it looks like we've abandoned the idea of this 3rd base because we have a lot more gateways coming in the main base of Freizy. He's going to be going for a gateway-based all-in now. 6 gates in the main base, 2 in the natural. This is going to be an 8-gate push. But is it going to be enough? He's actually moving some probes out via the right-hand side of the map to see if he can sneak a forward pylon in. But we already have the army on its way from LucifroN. And at what point will these sentries see the army? They could get caught out in the middle of the map if LucifroN decides to move out right now. And no, the sentries are going to survive. This Stalker, though, is going to see the incoming army. And Freizy must be thinking to himself, well, hang on a second. This cannot be particularly good. We have got a pylon finishing here, but really he needs to defend right now because LucifroN is going to be able to destroy the entire base oh so quickly. The forces getting pulled out of position and moving back now, but LucifroN, I think, is just going to be able to walk in here and absolutely storm through, and I think he realizes this. Freizy giving the well played, and LucifroN, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be winning this particular series 2-0.